There looks to be some pretty significant Apple HomeKit updates coming soon to iOS 18, some of which HomeKit users like myself and many of you have been asking for years. So it makes me wonder, is Apple finally listening to us? Let's talk about those updates and maybe some of the things Apple still needs to work on in terms of the smart home and Apple HomeKit. Let's go. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Shane and this channel is all about helping you build an easy Apple home, smart home with new videos and live streams published every week. All right, so I've been doing HomeKit, Apple Home, smart home stuff here on YouTube for years. My first smart home review video that is still listed actually dates back to May of 2018. You can actually still watch it. You probably shouldn't. It's pretty bad. But the point is, I've been a hardcore, dedicated Apple HomeKit user and fan for all those years, through all the ups and downs. And for the majority of that time, there has been a few features or updates that I've wanted that we just never got. You know, it often seemed like our cries were falling on deaf ears, and I've heard countless times from you all that you think Apple just doesn't prioritize or care about HomeKit or, you know, the smart home community. Well, I'm happy to say that some of these things we've been asking for years is finally coming to fruition with iOS 18. It almost feels like Apple just may be listening, which is awesome. And Apple, if you are listening, stick around to the end because I got a few more suggestions for you. So one thing that I've heard over and over and over is, how can I change the primary HomeKit hub in my smart home? And the answer has always been, you can't. HomeKit sort of randomly selects, which hub acts as your primary hub while others remain in this standby mode. It seems to change and switch fairly often for no apparent reason. So I was pretty shocked when I realized that we will finally be getting this option soon with iOS 18. HomeKit hubs are HomePods, HomePod minis, or Apple TVs, and many of us have multiple home hubs in our house. The problem is you may have, let's say, an Apple TV 4K hardwired to your network via Ethernet. Well, if you do, you obviously would want that one to act as your primary HomeKit hub, right? Over, let's say a HomePod or HomePod mini that's connected over Wi-Fi. Not to mention, many people still have older HomeKit hubs on their network, like the OG HomePods or older Apple TVs, and would probably prefer for those not to be the primary home hub. I know I often have many issues with my Matter devices here in my house when my older Apple TVs take over as the primary HomeKit hub. So anyways, those issues should soon be a thing of the past, as we will finally have the ability or the option to choose our primary HomeKit hub in iOS 18. So thank you, Apple, for that. Next, we have more robust guest access features coming to the Home app in iOS 18, something else that many of us, including myself, has wanted for years. Until now, all we could do is basically create a PIN code that you could give to guests that they could then use on your compatible smart locks. They don't actually have access to your smart home or anything like that in the Home app. And when iOS 18 is released, you'll be able to create a new guest with customized access in the Home app, and you can send out that invite. You'll be able to create schedules so that their access will only work between certain times or certain days, and guests can only access your home while they are there physically at your home during that schedule, which is really cool. So they won't be able to, leave your house and go home, for example, and still control your smart home when they're at their home, which is pretty great. I, for one, am really looking forward to testing out this, customized guest mode with some of my family. The only downside that I see is that it currently seems that the only accessories you can provide access to for your guests are secure accessories. Secure accessories are things like smart locks, garage doors, security systems, stuff like that. I'd really, really love to see this open up to all accessories in the future. So, Apple, if you are listening, maybe I have a guest room with smart lights or smart shades, for example. I'd love to be able to provide access to those guests that may be staying with me for a while to control all those accessories just in that room maybe. Or another example I always use, kids. The more robust your smart home gets, the more likely you are going to have accessories that you don't want your kids messing with. For example, I do want my child to be able to control the lights or the shades in her room, but I really don't want her to be able to control the thermostat or the sprinkler system or, the water shutoff valve that shuts off water to the entire house. That could be bad. So while this new customized guest access is great, I am excited about it and I do plan to use it. I do hope Apple continues to expand upon this so we can create that sort of, limited access or restrictions or whatever for certain guests or even residents. Now, another thing that has been requested for years is more device support, especially robot vacuums. And I'm excited to say that this will finally be coming in iOS 18. At least robot vacuums we know for sure will be coming. Matter 1.2 introduced robot vacuums, refrigerators, washing machines, air quality sensors, air purifiers, and more. And since Apple says that iOS 18 will support robot vacuums, I hope this means that the Home app will support all Matter 1.2 device types, or maybe even 1.3. I'm really not sure if that will be the case. We shall see, but at least we will be able to access our robot vacuums with Matter support in the Apple Home app. You'll be able to get basic functionality we know, like power control, cleaning modes, vacuum, mop, and charging status. The Apple website even says that you'll be able to tell Siri to do spot cleaning in the living room. So that kind of sounds like maybe we'll even have specific room cleaning control there in the Home app, which will be nice. It does say that this is coming later this year, so it's possible that this won't even, be available right when iOS 18 is released. I don't know, we'll have to see on that as well. Speaking of Matter, the next one is a little more niche and probably not as highly requested as the others. It's certainly a more recent request, but one that I have heard a number of times since Matter really started rolling out, and that's adaptive lighting support for Matter smart lights. Adaptive lighting is a HomeKit feature that you can enable for your compatible smart lights to gradually adjust the cool to warm temperature of those lights throughout the day based on the position of the sun, really. So it's a really nice feature and one that I think is well loved by those who use it regularly. I really like it. Unfortunately, Apple hasn't enabled support for adaptive lights added in the Apple Home app through Matter. Until now, it looks like. In a recent article by The Verge, Nanoleaf CEO stated that all of the Nanoleaf Matter lights will work with adaptive lighting when iOS 18 arrives this fall. He also stated that, quote, "I believe that the vision for adaptive lighting is to be open to all partners that work with the Apple Home ecosystem via Matter." End quote. This means that smart lights with Matter support made by other brands could also support adaptive lighting in the Apple Home app, which makes me pretty excited. This is interesting because adaptive lighting is an Apple Home feature, not a Matter feature. So that means you could potentially get this extra benefit or feature for your smart lights by using HomeKit over other smart home ecosystems like Google or Amazon. And with Matter here to stay, or so it seems, this is what we need to see from these major smart home ecosystems. Since Matter products work in all ecosystems, and if Apple really wants us to use HomeKit and the Apple Home app, they need to build out features in your ecosystem that will make us want to use it over the others. This adaptive lighting for Matter lights is a great example of that. And seeing that Apple has given us some of the features that have been highly requested by devout HomeKit users for years, it is very encouraging. That does give me hope that Apple is listening. But there's always room to improve. So what are some of the things that have also maybe been highly requested by the HomeKit community that Apple still needs to work on? What should Apple do next for us? First, let's talk about cameras. Two things that I'd like to see here, and I don't think I'm alone. First is camera resolution higher than 1080p in the Apple Home app. I'm sure there's some technical reason behind this limitation, but come on, Apple, throw us a bone here. Give us at least 2K on our HomeKit cameras. And second, regarding cameras, pan and tilt support in the Apple Home app. It's kind of ridiculous that I can use the Home app for pretty much everything in my smart home, including viewing and recording camera footage, you know, all that good stuff. But if I want to pan my camera to see other parts of the room that has pan and tilt capability, I have to use the manufacturer's app for that. So we need to get that fixed. And while we're speaking on cameras, I also love the ability to turn on or off streaming or recording via automations, which is something else we currently can't do in the Apple Home app. I've also already mentioned some of the ways I like to see Apple extend this guest mode capability that they've recently given us. You know, we talked about that earlier. The ability to add some sort of restrictions or limited access in the Apple Home app for family members like kids or guests would be a very welcome addition, I think, to the Home app. And another one, I'd really love to be able to trigger custom Siri messages through HomeKit automations. Something you can do in other voice assistants, but not in Apple HomeKit. Maybe they could probably use the intercom feature for your HomePods. That is something you can do in personal automations, just not home automations. So I'd love to see that addition. I know people have also asked for more icons in the Apple Home app for your devices for years, or maybe even the ability to import third-party icons that you could use for your accessories there in the Home app. That would be awesome. That seems like it could be a pretty easy one to implement, at least just giving us more icons. They could probably double or triple the amount of icons available in the Home app pretty easily. I think that alone would make a lot of people pretty happy. Now, I don't know that anyone from Apple ever watches any of my videos, but let's say that just maybe someone is watching. Leave a comment down below and let me know, scratch that, let them know what features you want to see come to HomeKit or the Apple Home app next. What are they lacking? How can they improve it? Drop your comments below. Also, let me know what you think about these new updates that we are getting, you know, finally after many years. I, for one, am very happy to have the ability to choose my primary HomeKit hub. If you want to see more HomeKit smart home content like this, be sure to subscribe. I have new videos come out every week. I also do a weekly live stream right here on YouTube. We talk about HomeKit and smart home stuff every week. Come hang out, chat, bring your questions. Would love to see you in the next stream. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.